welcome back. This video is going to be a tutorial for two different things. I know, crazy. They're kind of like the same theme, and so I wanted to just include it into the same video. I was scrolling on Pinterest, came across a couple pins. One was an oyster shell that was made from clay, and I was like, let me recreate that but crochet version. So that's what I did. I made a little oyster shell. This is perfect for like by your bedside table or in your bathroom or something if you take off your earrings before you shower or before you sleep. I thought it was perfect. And I created a cherry blossom inspired jewelry stand. You can put the earrings in the leaves, green leaves, and then in the leaves of the flower as well, and hang necklaces and bracelets on the stem. And then the little dish at the bottom is for rings or coins or rocks or whatever you want to put down there. I'm really happy with how these turned out. I think they look so cute. I myself am a really big jewelry wearer, specifically earrings. I love earrings. I usually switch out the first lobes of my earrings, and a lot of my jewelry comes from my mom buying me earrings, because whenever she goes on trips or for Christmas, birthdays and stuff, I'll always ask for earrings just because I love them. Like, I want to have a good collection. It's really special because I look back on it and be like, oh, my mom got me these from like Hawaii or whatever. And so that really means a lot to me with my jewelry. Considering that Mother's Day is only 2 weeks away when I post this video, what a nice way to give back to your mom by gifting her. In my case, she always gifts me jewelry, so why don't I gift her some jewelry? Gifting jewelry along with like a jewelry stand is just like a perfect gift in my mind to appreciate my mom. So that's what I will be doing. Let me show you my current earring stack though, because I'm really excited about this. I currently I have my 3 lobes pierced on either side, and then I have my conch on this side, flat, and then a tragus piercing on this side. And like I mentioned, I always switch out my lobe piercings. I keep these ones the same. These lobe piercings and this necklace is part of a set from Luisa. It's actually from their Mother's Day set. I keep my jewelry on all the time. I know that I should take it off to shower, and I know I probably should take it off to sleep, but I always forget, and it always just ends up like being on me 24/7. This jewelry is nice because it's water resistant. When I shower and I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh my god, I should have taken it off, I don't really have to worry because it doesn't really matter. It's also hyperallergenic for people with sensitive ears. I know my mom has really sensitive ears when it comes to jewelry, so that's why she gives me a lot of her jewelry, because she can't wear it herself. And it's also just super long lasting. So, like, I know I'm gonna have this for years and I don't mind. The pieces are affordable by themselves, starting at just $39. I got this set and I was like, oh my god, like, it's so worth it. Luisa is a US based company, so their shipping is free within the US. However, I'm from Canada and we always have to pay for shipping for any other company, but at least their shipping from Canada is affordable. When you order from Luisa, there's a 2-year warranty on all products and with an easy return policy. So if you get them and you realize that you don't like them, I don't think that's gonna happen, you can always easily return them. So like I mentioned, I got this set, the pearl set from their Mother's Day collection. They have a few other pieces that I was debating between, and like, I think I'm gonna get them for my mom for her gift and then include that with like one of my jewelry things, and I think that would be a beautiful gift for her. You just go on their website, look at what their options are. They have so many cute things, and the shipping, even though they are from the US, it was super quick. I was surprised by how quick it came. I literally just keep my jewelry on. It's like glued to me, so this will be glued to me for a long time. And this is what kind of inspired this oyster shell clam as well, because I was like, if I have a pearl earring set, like, I need to have somewhere to put it. So let's get into the video. Starting with the pearl oyster shell, I have all my materials here. I'm using the Burnett Softy Chunky yarn in size 6, super bulky. This is just a cream color. And then I have my 4mm crochet hook and a pair of scissors. And then I also have just a tapestry needle to sew with at the end. To start row 1, I'm just gonna create a slip knot and then chain 3. So we're gonna be working into these 3 stitches. I'm just going to chain 3 more for our turning chain. This is going to act as a double crochet. and then working into the 4th chain from the hook, I'm going to put 2 double crochet into that stitch. So there's 1, and then into the same stitch another double crochet. And then I'm going to be putting 3 double crochets into the next stitch. And then in the last stitch, another 3 double crochets. For row 2, I'm starting by chaining 2. And then just turning the work, and we're going to be working into the back posts of these stitches. And just to look where that is, I'm just going to show you with my tapestry needle here. It's just like that is the back post. That's where we're going to put our hook. And then that's the back post on the next stitch. If we're looking at it from the front, it would be a front post, and that's where you would put the hook. So I'm going to yarn over and do a double crochet into that back post spot. Just through there with my hook, and then do just a regular double crochet through that spot. So there's our first one. I'm going to chain 1 and do another back post double crochet into the next spot. So just in there, and then just do a regular double crochet. And then chaining 1 again, going into the next space as the back post. And then finishing that double crochet. And then we're just going to repeat that until we get to the end of the row. So I'm just working through the last back post double crochet, and then we're just going to do a half double crochet into the last space there. Row 3, I started by chaining 2, and now we're working into the front posts. So I'm going to do a double crochet into that front post right there. And then doing a double crochet just in that chain 1 space from the last row, just right there. And I'm just going to alternate between the front post double crochet and then the double crochet in the chain 1 space. Just finishing off here with our last front post double crochet and then a half double crochet into that last space there. Starting this row, another chain 2 and then turning the work and working into the back posts. This time I'm starting with a back post double crochet, and then again, like we did from the last round, alternating between then a double crochet after the back post one. So this will just be in the top of the chain like normal. I'm just showing you here, the stitch immediately after the back post is not the right stitch to go into. It leans a little bit more to the left, so you want to go into the one that's a little bit more to the left. It'll be directly above the double crochet from last round. And then another back post double crochet there. And then a double crochet, leans a little bit more to the left, so going into the one a little bit more to the left. and just continuing until we get to the end. Just again doing our last back post double crochet and then a half double crochet into that space. Row 5, start by chaining 2 again, flipping our work and going front post double crochet right there, and then we're going to be doing a double crochet increase, so that's just 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1 and then our second one, and then a front post double crochet again, and then just repeating that pattern until we get to the end where we do our last front post double crochet and then a half double crochet. Row 6, starting by chaining 2 again, turning our work, and alternating again, back post double crochet, and then 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches. So 1 there, and then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then back post double crochet. So our last row is row 7. I started by chaining 1 and then I just did a slip stitch in the first stitch, and then I'm going into the front post with a double crochet. So I'm doing that right there, and then I'm chaining 1 and going again into the same front post with another double crochet, and then I'm slip stitching into the next stitch, and then doing another slip stitch, and then those 2 front post double crochets, 1 there, chain 1, and then another one, and we're just going to repeat that until the end of the row. So I'm just doing my last front post double crochets there, Just going into the last stitch with a slip stitch, and then we're going to start by single crocheting all the way around the edges. So just where there's a space, just put a single crochet. I don't know how many I did exactly, but just how many that fits. And then just going along the bottom again, putting in a single crochet into each space. And then up the other side. And I just weaved in the tail as I went. Then I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that first stitch from that first row, and then cut it and tie it off. I made the second shell off camera. I'm just going to show you how I sewed them together. I left the tail long on one of them. And I'm just lining them up so that the stitches line up together, and then I'm just going through all of them to sew it together. And I only sewed, I think, 5 stitches together because I wanted it to be a little bit more open on the side, but it could also work if you wanted to sew along the whole side and then just have the front where the shell is be open. That also works. For the cherry blossom jewelry stand, I have all of my colors here: white, pink, green, beige, and brown. I'm just using size 4 medium from mostly Loops and Threads. I have my wire here. I just got it from Dollarama. I don't know, it was like $2 maybe. Doesn't really matter the size either. And then I have a 3mm crochet hook, my scissors, tapestry needle, and a stitch marker. And then just to measure, a tape measure. To start, I'm using my wire, and I'm going to cut 3 pieces that measure to be about 16 inches. And then I'm measuring 14 inches and cutting 2 pieces that are that length. I have all of my 5 pieces of wire here. I'm just separating the 2 smaller ones, the shorter ones, and wrapping them around until I get about halfway up. And then I'm gonna bring both of those 2 shorter ones that measure 14 inches and then wrap them together for the branch that stems off about halfway. And for the 3 remaining pieces that all measure 16 inches, I'm wrapping those around themselves. Kind of, there's not really a technique here, just like kind of braiding them, but like wrapping them around each other so it's not really a braid. Just find a technique that works for you, all the way until we get to the end of that. So now it's the time to just adjust the wire as you want it to look, so bend it however you want it. And I'm just gonna fix the bottom here by cutting it off a little bit so it's not so sharp. I'm just gonna work on the base a little bit, so I'm separating the about like maybe 2 inches at the bottom of the 5 wires that are there and just creating more of like a triangular shape so that the stand can stand up on this base. Once you have your desired shape, you can start wrapping it. I'm just going to tie a knot with my brown yarn and then just really go crazy wrapping it around. There's no technique. Honestly, the bumpier, the more realistic it looks, I find, because it's supposed to be a branch. So I really just start wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and wrapping until we get there. I just go all the way up and then I take it all the way back down. Around the end, I'm just wrapping it around the end as close as I can get it, and then I'm just taking the pliers and kind of creating a hook so that it won't fall off the end and so that the end's not so sharp, and then just clamping that together. So I'm just going to wrap it around the base. Again, I don't really have a technique for this. I'm kind of weaving it and I'm kind of twisting it. I don't really know. Just trying to create it a little bit more like a base for it. And I don't want to leave the bottom pieces so sharp, so I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the branches and twist it and then clamp it together, so it kind of creates this little loop. To make the base, I'm taking my yarn and I'm doing a magic circle with 8 single crochets in that circle. I don't want to have a seam, so I'm just going into the top of that first stitch from the magic circle and just putting my stitch right there. This will make sure that there's no seam created, and I'm just putting my stitch marker to mark that stitch. And then for this row, it's a row of single crochet increases, so I'm just going to do another single crochet into that same stitch and then do single crochet increases the rest of the way. Row 3, I'm just taking out that stitch marker and putting a single crochet to start the row, putting back the stitch marker, and then doing a single crochet increase, and this will be our pattern for this row. So 2 stitches into that one, and then a single crochet and a single crochet increase. For the start of each row, I'm just going to take out the stitch marker and then put my first stitch to signify the beginning of the row. This just helps to keep track of when we end the row. I'm going to continue to do our rows of increasing. Our last row was single crochet, then single crochet increase, and then we do 2 single crochet, then single crochet increase. We're going to do that till we get all the way up to 7 single crochets and then a single crochet increase. So I'll meet you back there when we get there. Rows 10 and 11, I'm just going to single crochet all the way around. Row 12, I'm going into the front loops only with the single crochet. I just did my first stitch there and I'm putting the stitch marker back in. And then I'm going to do another front loop, single crochet all the way around till we get to the stitch marker again. For our last 3 rows, it's just going to be single crochets all the way around. Don't forget to take out your stitch marker and put it back in after every round. So just off camera, I finished it and then just cut the yarn, leave a long tail because we'll use it to sew it in. To attach the stem to the base, I just am going to push through the metal prongs into the base. Just find a hole and push it through. You might have to stretch it a little bit to make sure that the metal's not showing. I just played around with it a little bit until I was happy with what it was looking like. So when we turn it around, the little loops are at the bottom. I didn't show a video of this, but just weave it through the loops and then tie it in a knot to the base at the back, and it'll just help to secure it. So now just taking my tapestry needle, I'm going to sew it in, attaching it to the beige base. When we did the front loop only row, it leaves a little row of stitches behind, so I'm just using that to sew it together. And then I'm just going to tie a knot and weave the end through to finish it off. Now taking my green yarn, we're going to make the leaves, and I'm going to start by making a slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 7. Starting from the second chain from the hook, I'm going to start with a single crochet, and then I'm going to do a half double crochet, double crochet, another half double crochet, a single crochet, and then a slip stitch in the last stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1. To start the next round, I'm going down the other side of the chain, and I'm going to start with my slip stitch, and I'm going to do the same thing that we did from the last round, just in reverse. To finish, I'm just going to finish with my last single crochet here, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch from the first row, and then just cutting off the yarn and tying it. Okay, to make the flower, I'm grabbing my pink yarn and I'm starting with a magic circle, putting 5 single crochets into the magic circle. I just pulled the circle tight, and then I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet. I was a little tight, so I just am using my tapestry needle to poke a bigger hole for that, and I'm just going to slip stitch into there. For row 2, I'm starting with a chain 1, and going into every stitch I'm going to put 2 single crochets, so just a single crochet increase. We'll have 10 stitches at the end of the row. So I'm just cutting the pink yarn and I'm going to attach my white yarn. I just pull it through with my hook and then I pull the pink yarn tight and tie the 2 ends together. For row 3, I'm starting with another chain 1, and then I'm going to go into the first stitch with a single crochet, and then a double crochet into that same stitch, and then in the next stitch a double crochet. I'm just going to weave in the tails as I go. And then a single crochet into that same stitch. And we're just going to repeat this 5 times. For row 3, I'm starting with chaining 3, and then I'm going to work 2 double crochets or a double crochet increase into the next stitch. And then 2 double crochets or a double crochet increase into the stitch after that. Then I'm going to chain 3 again and slip stitch into the next stitch. And then I'm going to put a single crochet in between rows 1 and 2, so it's in between the pink ones. Just find a hole and put a single crochet. And then I'm slip stitching into the next stitch and chaining 3 again, and then repeating the pattern with our double crochet increases. So I'm just cutting off my yarn here and then pulling it through to make a knot. And then I'm just gonna weave in the tails at the end. You can use the pink one, the pink yarn, to sew it to the tree branch if you want, or you can weave it in. So you can either sew or use hot glue. I used hot glue to glue the flowers and the leaves and just kind of glued it wherever I felt like I wanted to. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial. I hope you had a fun time crocheting because these projects are really fun and they honestly didn't take me too long. If you're interested in checking out the Ana Luisa Mother's Day gift collection, I have a link in my description so you can click on that and go right to the website. Also follow me on Instagram, the same as my YouTube, Ella's Land of Crochet. I've been trying to revamp my Instagram and make it look so cutesy and stuff. So I have a lot of posts on there for my previous projects that I've done, as well as I normally post on there first before I post on YouTube. So if you want to know what the upcoming tutorial will be for or an upcoming video, I usually post that on Instagram first, so you can get kind of a first row seating to what's gonna happen next. Thank you so much for watching. I had a really fun time with this tutorial and I hope you did too. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.